everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Lapstown Podcast. My name is Andrea.
And I'm MJ.
And we are so excited to be back for our first race recap episode of 2025. Whoop, whoop. Before we get too started, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whatever you're listening to us on. This is me and MJ going, please. It's super appreciated. But if you watch NASCAR, then you probably are just now turning off your TV from the Bowman Gray cookout clash, and we are just turning on our podcast studio because this is Lapstown at night. It is about 10:30 Eastern time, which means whatever time it is in the inferior central time zone. But the race just stopped, so we're going to be giving you fresh off the presses, hot opinions. So if we're wrong, sorry, didn't get to digest it too much. But what did you think about the race overall, MJ?
It was interesting. Mm-hmm. It's very clearly like a gimmicky race. It was fun. Like, it was entertaining. I don't know if that's like something that I would use to showcase NASCAR, but it was eventful. It was fun.
It was fun.
I feel like the last chance qualifying and like the first heat race number 1, like that's where the entertainment was. I was like, oh, these guys are actually like trying for something. Don't know what they were trying for because this is a 0 points race, but I thought that's where the real juice was. And then we kind of got to the race and I was just like, oh, they're just being smarter about it.
I think it would have been more fun if they just said, fuck it, there's points for this race. Like, just make it worth something, or else they don't care. You know what I mean? Right. So you brought up a good point, the first heats. So we can start with the weekend with they had the practice, and the practice was kind of like, it was very unclear who was going to do well and who wasn't, because people would come out and they'd do really good in the first practice, and then by the third practice, they were ass. So it was very uncertain what we were getting ourselves into, and then we went into the heat races. There was 4 of them. And they all brought a little different vibe. And the first one was, it gave amateur hour a little bit. Like, it kind of gave, like, these guys are fresh off the street. They've never drove a race car before. And we're asking them to drive at Bowman Gray. Like, they had no idea what they were doing.
They were racing for something. It looks like you were given a bunch of, like, new guys. Like, this is your one chance to drive a Cup Series car. Get out there. Show them what you can. Like, I also kind of feel like it's like when you're the first to like do something and you're like, okay, well, I'm setting the expectation. Like, I assume we're all going to go really hard, right? Yeah. Like, all the heats are going to go really hard. So like, we don't want to seem like we're not trying. So we're going to go really hard. And then everyone was like, hey, we actually all agreed that we weren't going to try very hard. So that's kind of the energy it gave. Yeah.
They came out and they were like, oh, okay. So we're supposed to give the people a show. We're supposed to like do the like, oh, madhouse. Like, they were doing the like what was required of them from the highlight reel that they were playing during the ad breaks. Okay, one second. I wasn't gonna edit this video, and then my cat just like got a jingly bell bowl.
No, you don't need to edit it. I'll talk about something. Wow. Okay. Oh, it's ASMR now.
Yeah.
Your dreams come true finally.
Oh my God, we want an ASMR Lapstown so bad. So the first heat was like so chaotic, and all of our friends that have never watched NASCAR before were like, oh my gosh, inject this into my veins. Like, they were like, this is so crazy. These people, do they even know how to drive cars? Like, they were so impressed with the chaos. And then the next 2 heats were nothing, literally nothing. Like, they just rolled out and they drove in a straight line around the track for however many laps, and then they went, okay, congrats, these people made it to the race, everybody else go home. All right, anyways. It's kind of lame, but like, yeah, I don't know, what do you prefer? Like, do you prefer the chaos, or do you prefer like the straightforward, like, let's just race like adults here?
I think if it's going to be an exhibition race like this, where it's like, it's for no points, the purpose of it, I would assume, is to kind of get people into NASCAR. What people want to see is chaos. Like, they don't want to see good racing. If they wanted to see good racing, they wouldn't have tuned into a race on a football field, like a high school football field. So I prefer the chaos. I think it's it gives that entertainment value. It makes you want to tune back in next week because you're like, are these guys all going to still be so pissed off at each other come the Daytona 500?
I think it is supposed to give, like, Monster Jam a little bit. Like,
Hell
it's supposed
yeah.
to just be like, can they even do that? And it's like, I don't know. One way to find out. Like, let's see if they can go 3 wide. Then the last heat race was kind of a good in between. It was like they were racing, they were going side by side, they were trying new racing lines, they were hitting the wall a little bit, just the perfect amount of fun. And that's what I was hoping we would get with the race. But before the race, we had our last chance qualifier today. I think the last chance qualifier got some people really hooked on NASCAR. It was a good amount of chaos. But what were your thoughts on the last chance qualifier? We had, I think, Ty Gibbs spin out no less than 4 times.
I think it was 4 times. And I would say a couple of those weren't his fault. And
but
then,
some of them were.
Sure. I mean,
Sure.
a guy's got to spin, you know? And then that last incident with, was it Haley? I think it was Haley who spun him, and it looked like it was Ty Gibbs was going to be done. And so he decided to just do a little farewell, a little thanks for knowing you.
Jump shot off his front wheel.
Yeah, did get a little airborne off of the front right. I thought that was fun, though. I totally supported Ty Gibbs. I was like, you know what? Someone needs to put that Haley kid in his place.
Yeah, there was some people who were making a name for themselves, like that. Was it Jones that like literally made it into the race by just like taking everybody out along the way?
Great. He like got up into like P2 or something. Yeah. He just kept demolishing people. I just kept, because I took notes during the race, I kept writing down 43 spun someone else, 43 spun someone else, and then I was like, 43 is P2?
Yeah.
But that's like kind of what those races need. Like that's how you race, you move them. Someone in your way, you move them.
His like spotter was like talking to him on the radio, and they aired it. And they were like, "Are you having a good time?" He's like, "I hate to admit how much fun I'm having." Like I was like, "This is your moment, buddy. Make yourself known." But I don't know. I think the last chance qualifying was pretty fun. That's how Kyle Larson also got in. Kyle Larson was one of those people I was talking about. He looked good in the first practice, and then every practice after that, everybody was getting faster, and he was somehow like getting slower. He did not do well in his heat race. He shows up to the last chance qualifying, and he, I think, started in 10th. And so everybody was like, oh, Kyle Larson's definitely going to make it in. And I was like, this motherfucker's in 10th. He is not getting in, guys. And then, I look like an idiot. So,
obviously he got in.
Yeah. Oops. But it didn't really do much for him getting into the race, because in the actual race, he was driving like a doof.
Yeah, and he had some damage from, was it William Byron took a little spin in front of him and damaged his car? Maybe it wasn't William Byron.
I think Cindric also like kind of brake checked him a little bit when he was trying to get in on like the inside. So he just kind of, oops.
He had some damage, and then he proceeded to Kyle Larson in the actual race that he fought his way into. He proceeded to, he spun a couple times. Kyle Larson got to do what Kyle Larson's going to do, which is that. Yeah, so
whatever that was. We did notice, though, that he's a Prime ambassador.
So
he was literally drinking the little, like, 4th of July popsicle drink.
Yeah. Ew. That's so weird. I don't even want to think about it. Like, but you've got, like, the Coke boys. Yeah. You know, like, the big names, like Joey Logano. You got Denny Hamlin. Ryan Blaney. I'm trying to name all the Coke boys now.
You got Bubba and his Dr.
Pepper. And then you've got fucking
Monster.
You've got Monster.
The classic Monster guys.
We've got Red Bull coming soon. Mm-hmm. Celsius is out there. We got applesauce, and then you got fucking Prime. It's like, that's for kids. Why are you drinking that, Kyle Larson?
We got the Sunny D.
Oh, Sunny D.
Wait, who's the Sunny D guy? Whatever, I don't give a shit. If the Sunny D guy were to win, would he have to be drinking Sunny D? Oh my God, can we make that happen?
To shotgun a Sunny D, I fear.
Hell yeah. But I think, honestly, I think it's super cringe, which I think is so funny. And I think that is really funny for Kyle Larson. And I'm going to laugh about it a little bit throughout the season if he's going to crack open a Prime every time he does an interview. Because, first of all, like, there's no way he likes that. Every adult ever that drinks a Prime is like, hey, is this straight sugar water or what's up with that? But I think it opens the door for new drink sponsors. I was telling you, like, we could get a Capri Sun guy up in there. Like, what? We don't even have to limit it to just adult drinks, apparently. Like, we can just make it like kid stuff, you know what I mean? Like Kool-Aid jammers. Who's cracking up in a Kool-Aid jammer? Yeah. Hell yeah. So I just thought that was funny. Apparently he's a Prime ambassador. I want to see a Kyle Larson on whatever the hell that Logan Paul podcast is.
Impulsive?
Yeah, get him on Impulsive. Come on, I want to see a conversation happen between Kyle Larson and Logan Paul.
Nightmare blunt rotation. Genuinely.
No, actually. Get Mr. Beast in there. Yeah. Does he have a Beast? Beast?
Oh my God. At the Indy 500, he pulls out a Lunchly instead of a Prime.
He comes out of the car, cracks open right into that Lunchly.
He's like, oh my God, there's mold in it.
Hey, buddy, don't say it on camera. You're an ambassador. Just eat the mold quietly, please. But yeah, so we had the actual race start. The first half of the race was absolutely nothing happening. I literally was like, okay, this is where we got to introduce some points or something like that. Like halfway through the first half, I was like, okay, this needs to be a points race because these guys do not care at all. I think they cared during the qualifiers because it would be embarrassing not to make it to the final race probably. So they care up until that point. And then they were like, now what? I don't care. But when it started to near the end, right before the halftime, that did not have a musical performance to my dismay. Denny and Tyler Reddick got a bright idea. Like, hey, Chase Elliott is leading and it's kind of annoying me. We should just go ahead and pass him. And I thought, like, honestly, I kind of thought, like, okay, thank God we got that Chase Elliott leading out of the way. He was so boring up there. He was going, like, half a lap in front of everybody. Nobody was even messing with him. And I was really hyped going into a 1-2 Denny and Tyler at halftime. It didn't really mean much, though, as it turns out. It meant nothing. It was all a lie. I thought we were going to have a good time. Nah.
It was, but for a moment, it was beautiful, for sure.
Yeah. There was a little moment where there was an ad break, and you saw Denny passing Tyler, and I kind of thought, like, oh, they're about to crash. And I did kind of think, like, strife in the 2311 household. We got father-son crime happening here. Like, I literally was like, Denny, best behavior. Like, that's literally your son. Like, I wouldn't crash him. That's kind of mean. What did you think about the only things exciting were happening during the ad break?
That was, that made me so mad. And like someone who had never watched NASCAR before was like messaging me and they were like, are they going to stop the ad because there's a caution? And I was like, no. In fact, they not only didn't stop the ad, they then made it full screen and went on to talk about the ad, talk about how there was a commercial break instead of talking about whatever the caution was. That was awesome. That was really so sick. Thanks, Fox. Thanks for embarrassing me in front of all my friends.
Wait, can we actually talk about we had like a mission this weekend. Me and MJ were doing the work for Fox, for NASCAR, trying to turn all these F1 fans into NASCAR fans. You're welcome. Mm-hmm. We went live during the heats. We had so much fun at the live. Like lots of people tuned in, watching the heats with us. Pretty hype. We saw some wild answers of what people on first impressions were deciding their favorite drivers were going to be.
Crazy.
It was so delightful. I have to say, if you're one of those old school, like, I hate Joey Logano, I hate Denny Hamlin, you're going to hate these these new F1 girlies getting into NASCAR. They all picked, like, my faves and, like, very controversial faves, and I loved it.
It is very interesting. And it's especially interesting because they have to be so strategic with who they choose the like little interview spots for these first races. Because we got a Joey Logano, so I got a lot of people saying, I think I like that Joey guy. We had a Chase Elliott, obviously. A lot of people said that they like Chase Elliott. And then we got a fucking Austin Dillon one. Yeah. And a lot of people were like, oh, he seems really nice. Like, I think that's someone I would want to support. And I'm like, I mean, pop off, like, whoever you want to support, like, I don't really care. But I was also like, these are just not the answers I was expecting at all.
We got to warn them before they just go onto the internet with these opinions.
Right.
It's like me and MJ have trenched through these waters before. And I'm going to tell you as a friend, I wouldn't just go on the internet talking about how you like Joey Logano. You're not going to have a good time.
No, you got to be careful with what you say out there in the NASCAR community.
But yeah, those were fun. What were some of the other? Oh, can we talk about what our good friend Marley told you that she liked Tyler Reddick for?
No,
okay, that's fine. But we have a lot of 2311 fangirls.
Yes.
A lot of people didn't even realize when they said like, "Oh, I like Bubba and Tyler," and I was like, "You made a lot of wonderful choice."
A lot of people were picking off of the paint schemes, which is very interesting because a lot of these paint schemes that we saw at this race, we likely will never see again. Mm-hmm. So, big shout out to the Long John Silver's car. Big shout out to the applesauce car.
I loved the applesauce car. That was great from Chris Buescher. That was great. Are you serious? My cat is like literally eating my bed. Like literally eating my bed frame while I try to film this. Why? I didn't want to have to edit this, you doofus. Now I'm not going to get any sleep and it's literally your fault. No. This cat is like a freaking menace to society. This is going to be a great cut for the YouTube. I'm just back with the cat.
With the cat on your shoulder.
But yeah, lots of 2311 fangirls came out of this. Love to see it. So we came back from the halftime break and it looked like Denny and Tyler were going to kind of hang out like that a little longer. But I think that Tyler must have gotten some sort of damage from maybe Chase Elliott trying to get back up into the front because he all of a sudden started dropping off hard. I think he ended maybe in 9th or 10th. Very stressful because he dropped himself between like our other faves like SVG and Suarez, and they started bumping bumpers a little bit, and I was like, hey guys, best behavior back there, please. Best behavior. SVG did pretty good this weekend, and the commentators were talking about how they think that these street course guys are good at short tracks. And they're like, it was so funny, they were trying to explain it, they were like, it's something to do with the braking.
Sure, whatever you want to say. Yeah, whatever. Maybe SVG is just a god. Thoughts?
Have we thought about that?
I've been saying that for months, and people go, "You don't know Wheel?" I go, "Sure, I don't, but I know that."
Yeah, but that was fun to see. So then we got one of like the main big crashes that I thought we were going to start getting some beef from was Carson Hocevar got crashed out by what he thought was Christopher Bell. But what actually happened was Joey Logano bumped into Christopher Bell bumped into Carson Hocevar. And then poor Christopher, he has the most endearing radios. He's like, I did not mean to do that. I did not mean to do that. Joey made me. I didn't mean to.
Even before that, it was... Joey just likes to start shit. But even before that, it was because Carson had kind of bumped Christopher while he was going by Christopher. So there was an issue, sure. Did it need to be solved by Joey Logano, who was behind both of them? No. He was simply just trying to make it look like Christopher Bell was an instigator. And then Carson, he was turned around into the wall, and he's like, I don't know what he wanted me to do. And I'm like, hey, this is actually sad. Thanks, Joseph.
Yeah, guys, just remember who the real enemy is.
The fucking Penske.
Why is Joey back there, like, for no reason starting shit? And then later on in the race, we had some friends texting us, and they were like, why is Joey being mean to Bubba? And I was like, that is a wonderful question. After I said last week very bravely that I don't hate Joey Logano, I'm like, maybe with time I could learn to if you don't stop it. And then we had Denny fall off a little bit towards the end as well. Ryan Blaney, who got in by the skin of his teeth as kind of just the, whatever, kid, good job last season qualifier. Basically, he didn't win any of the heats or do well in the last chance qualifier. He won his spot just by having the most points last season.
Mm-hmm.
And he ended up in second.
Didn't even race in the last chance qualifier.
No, he was like, "This, yeah, I see how this is going.
He did a few laps because apparently he had like issues with his car, wanted to make sure it was fixed, and then you just see him drive off into the parking lot, and they go, "Well, it looks like Ryan Blaney made it into the big show," and I was like, "Oh, sick!" Hell yeah!
Just like clocking out for the day, just being like, "Hey, I think this is probably gonna go badly for all you guys, so I'm gonna leave. Goodbye." But he ended up in second.
That was crazy.
He was kind of picking him off there. There was a couple times where he was getting bumper to bumper with everybody, but he never managed to make himself the villain, which I thought was very interesting. He always just kind of gave him a little push, but he never actually like spun anybody out. And I think he handled this. He was kind of driving with grace. You know what I mean? Like he was like, I'm not going to do too much. Like I'm going to be very mindful and demure. And I love that for Ryan Blaney, but I would have loved it more if he could have just finished the job probably.
Won. I gotta say, watching Ryan Blaney, I think, like, do, like, a insane drive from the back, because we watched it at the end of last season, insane drive from the back, and then just barely miss out. It doesn't ever get easier, even though I've seen it now 3 times, I think. A couple
times, yeah. He had a lockup that put him pretty far behind Chase, it looked like. And so that kind of paved the way for the last 30 laps to be pretty boring. Chase Elliott basically just kind of picking through lap traffic and winning. It is interesting to see how they have to pick through the lap traffic in this race. It was like a couple times like a little bit of a close call where I was like, to be the guy being lapped and to take out the race leader, you sure would look like a doof. I would appreciate your work.
But yeah, it's probably not a great look.
Doof. Yeah. I don't know. But at the end, we have a bunch of new NASCAR fans who are interested in Chase Elliott. So good job for him, an 8th most popular driver on the way. And he did do a cool burnout at the end. I'll give him that.
He got a little hype at the end. I've genuinely, this whole season, the whole 2025 season,
a whole smile.
I've seen more expression from him in these like 2 days than I have in the entirety of watching NASCAR. So, you know what? Maybe he deserves some new fans.
Yeah. He gave it his all. So do you think that we learned anything from this for the rest of the season? Or is it just like, okay, cool, bye, whatever. That was fun. And do you think that this worked in getting new fans?
I don't know if we learned anything from this, period. Because I don't think we're ever going to go back to a track like this until maybe the Clash next year. I think, as far as the new fans go, I think a lot of people were intimidated by, like, the schedule. I think a lot of people were intimidated by the format. If they did watch the race, I think a lot of them are now... I think it was exciting, but I think a lot of confusion is what's going to come out of this race, especially because it set people's expectations high.
I think it set expectations to a completely different sport than what NASCAR is. Like if you want to watch like short track racing or something like that, like
it's different.
Sure, whatever, but that's not what this is going to be for the rest of the season. So I don't really know if it was worth it to like get all these new fans caught up on like this confusing format that they'll never use again. Do you think that NASCAR would be better off just starting the season truly with Daytona? I'm starting to feel like, is there a need for an expedition race?
I don't know. I don't think if you're going to do an exhibition race like this was clearly just a way to like throw a bone to the nostalgic fans who they've like NASCAR has pissed off so much with literally every decision they've made in the past 100 years. I think if you want an exhibition race, you can do it. Like the Coliseum, I know a lot of people who, they told me they went to the Coliseum because it was just like there, and they're like, MGK performed, and they were like, it was fun, and I kind of got into NASCAR that way. I don't know if it's necessary. I also don't like the idea of starting with the Daytona 500.
Okay.
Like, the fact that the Daytona 500 comes right after the exhibition race, don't love that already. But if you were to take away this exhibition race and be like, okay, we're going to do the Daytona 500, there's no hype, there's no build up to it. I think why not just start with like a regular standard track,
a run of the mill,
like the good old days. Yeah, give them the regular schmegula before you go. Look, heat races. Look, duels. Like, I don't know. It just seems silly to me.
I think that something like Bowman Gray, wouldn't it be more fun as like a hell yeah halftime to the season where there's actual tensions? Like, I think it'd be fun if people actually were already pissed at each other. And it was like, go for it. Just fucking
I agree.
Bumper cars out there, guys. Like, just get your anger out. I think that would be fun.
And there'd be more stakes. Yeah, they're too nice. They don't really care. There's not enough stakes right now. Like, if you were working with a car that you're like, trying to get through a season with, maybe they'd care a little bit more. Maybe they would, But it's an interesting idea, the exhibition race. Us telling NASCAR that as if they haven't been doing it for multiple years. You're really, you're onto something, but you're just not quite there yet. You seem to be going backwards, actually.
Us who've been watching NASCAR for like maybe a full 6 months, we're not quite sold on it.
Yeah, but we have marketing backgrounds, so we know how to market. We don't know how to race car. Yeah, you do. Fair. You hang out. We talk a lot all the time. My credentials
are I speak with MJ quite often.
Yeah.
But I think that if you're listening to this podcast and you're an F1 fan, an IndyCar fan, and you've been begrudgingly getting down with NASCAR because you are friends with me and MJ or watch our content.
Hell yeah.
Don't count yourself out yet. I think that we have a couple weeks of NASCAR before any other racing starts of IndyCar or F1. Do not clock out. You do not have to. I'm not asking you to like fucking buy yourself a campsite in the infield at a race. Okay. I'm just asking you to turn on your TV for a couple more races because you got nothing else to watch anyways. And I think that we could win some people over. I don't know if the what the frick is that
expectations
word?
Expedition exponent.
No, the type of race this is
exhibition.
Yes, I'm a podcaster, I know words. Fuck it, you know what I'm talking about. This whole idea I do feel like was more fun for people that get the vibe of Bowman Gray, are fans, maybe live in the area, and we're like, hell yeah, let's bumper cars.
Mm-hmm.
I think, though, I don't see a need. I think any race with no points is going to be a little boring, I think. Just find a track and make it the opener.
Yeah. I really do think if they just, like, did it well, it could be really, really good. But there's, like, no stakes. The track is so, like, it's historic, but it's so different compared to anything else that they drive on. I
did see that they one time did it on the Daytona Roval.
Sorry, what's that? Sorry?
Interested.
That was an option, and we chose Bowman Gray over a Roval?
Yeah, I fear they did. Basically, I think that they one time just did the exact track that the, like, Rolex whatever was on.
Yeah.
And that would work out great because, like, I'm sure the track is still set up. Like,
well, it's like, it's in the ground, so it's always going to be there.
You know what I mean? And that would also kind of play into the vibe of, like, the build up to the Daytona 500. It's because it'd be like, okay, like, we're getting in the kind of like, Indy 500, they like build up to it by like just fucking around in the city of Indianapolis for all of May. Like, let's just do that. Oh my God, why does everybody hate me today? They just want to make all this background noise that I have to edit. It is 11 o'clock, best behavior, everybody, please. But yeah, I don't know. We'll probably have Bowman Gray next year, though. Right?
Maybe. I think
they did all this effort to build it up and put all the safety barriers in and put the fucking lights in.
Might as well. I mean, it is entertaining. It is entertaining. Hey, I had a good time.
Yeah. Well, okay, guys, if you learned how all the heats and everything work, just retain that knowledge on the slim chance they do it the same way next year.
Yeah. You won't actually literally ever have to use it again for the rest of this year. But we can always run back over it next year.
Yeah.
If it happens.
What else do we got to do? You know what I mean? We'll run it over. They'll probably change all the rules between now and then anyways.
Dude. Yeah, you're right.
So, Chase Elliott, congratulations. Enjoy your cookout trophy. Also, shout out to NASCAR John. He tagged us in his video about going to cookout, and he told me his order, and it's exactly what I thought was going down at cookout. It was the cookout shenanigans. He got, I think, a chicken sandwich with a side of quesadilla and like pasta or something. It was like
a side of quesadilla.
That's exactly the shenanigans I thought were happening at cookout, and I want to go. So that's just delightful, and I love that. So no racing next week for NASCAR because of some little thing called the Super Bowl. Who cares?
Oh, yeah.
But we're probably going to have an IndyCar commercial during the Super Bowl. That's actually going to, like, that's actually so crazy to think about. Like, there's going to be millions of people watching an IndyCar commercial. I'm so nervous. Like, please be good.
So, like, all of the people I know are like big football fans. They're all clocking in for the Super Bowl. And they know that I'm an IndyCar fan, but it's like, it's far enough removed that they don't know anything about it. So if this is their first introduction into IndyCar, I swear to God, if there is a single sperm joke, if there is a single French kissing joke, if they make a fast hands joke, I'm deleting this channel. I'm deleting this channel. I'm deleting your channel. I'm deleting my channel. I'm getting rid of the Iowa Speedway. It's over, IndyCar.
Just do good, please.
Just like, please be normal. Please be normal.
I don't think it's gonna be normal. I think it's gonna make a splash. I think it's gonna be crazy. Yeah, I'm very scared and nervous. They did some IndyCar testing this week, I think. Apparently Prema did not bad in the testing. What do you make of that? I a couple weeks ago said Prema wanted to make a splash, and you said, "Me, their car didn't even run yet."
Yeah, and
are you ready to rescind?
Was I wrong? Was I wrong? Did their car run at the time you were going? No, Prema's going to be at the top. Robert for number one rookie.
Me when I lie and make stuff up. No, I did find that interesting. I don't know if it's like maybe they're investing in just hype right now. Like they're like, go out on the streets and tell everybody we were good. Like,
it's a threat. It's not actually stats. It's just like, hey, I don't know.
I do think the locker, though I think about it, I am kind of nervous for them. We were talking the other day on FaceTime, and it really hit me that they might potentially have Roman Grosjean as an oval specialist. And I was like, will somebody step in here? Like, this is not how you run this team. Please.
Literally, no one else was available. No, there was no other non-American driver who can do ovals that you could have got.
Like, figure something else out. Like, no offense I love Roman Grosjean, but like, this is all you got. You gotta do better than that.
And to be fair, we don't actually know. But like, if he's going to be doing the ovals, but reserve drivers famously aren't a thing in IndyCar. So
do you think, so I think that Rinus VeeKay was there testing for Dale Coyne, but if he's not, why is he leading him on? Like, if you're going to sign Rinus VeeKay, just sign him. Like, why is he actually acting like some weird ass, like, talking stage girlfriend? Like,
will they, won't they?
Yeah, it's like,
are you guys together or not?
Like, if you guys are, like, he's tested for you a couple times. Like, it seems like you guys have gone on a couple dates. Like, I think you should probably just, like, make it official.
Make it official.
What do I know? But if he's not signed by Dale Coyne, he is not American and could probably do better than Roman Grosjean.
He's nearly won the Indy 500. So
I would assume that means he is locked down by Dale Coyne. So
I've decided.
Why are we doing this? Like, why is Dale Coyne, like, embarrassing my man? Like, he's literally making him, like, seem desperate. Like, he's like, I want you to post on Instagram and say you're going to test for me. And then everybody's going to wonder if you're on my team, but I won't say if you are or not. I want you to be embarrassing.
It's just soft launching. Hey, I don't care what they're into as long as Renus has a seat.
Some weird back and forth that they have going on.
Hey, I love an enemies to lovers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what this is. That's what this is. Okay, so Renus VK hopefully has a seat. If not, I'm about to be mad. But yeah, I thought the testing for IndyCar, that was basically the only thing I really heard from it. That was of news, was people just hyping up Prema. I don't know. TBD for them. The other thing we have for IndyCar news, McLaren had expressed that they were interested in kind of entering into the WEC IMSA world. And then somebody on the internet just made up this whole thing of like, this means McLaren. You participated in it. Would you like to?
No, I did not.
Complicit in this?
No, what I did was I sent you a break hard video where he said it. And I said, whoa.
Learned it from somebody else.
What he said, it? I don't know. But what he said made a lot of sense to me. Mm-hmm. That's what I'll say. All right. Because essentially they were like, they would have to like split the funds between IMSA or WEC or whatever. And IndyCar, like the reason that they're in all these series is to, according to Breakard.
I actually don't think this is his fault. I think I did see it in like Auto Sport, like online or something.
Well,
somebody.
Who are we gonna trust? Breakard or Zach Brown? Like, be so fucking for real with me right now.
I'd pick Breakard every time.
Yeah, exactly. But so essentially, what he was saying, me just fully pointing the finger at him, what I believed was that the reason McLaren's in all of these fucking series is to improve their road cars, and they're not like getting the information from IndyCar. I don't know what they're getting from IndyCar to improve the road car. So if they were
to merch sales,
yeah, just like a bunch of money and popularity, but like besides that, like, what else are they getting? So essentially, like they would maybe pull out of IndyCar, but then I'm like, what are they learning from Formula One?
Yeah, Formula One's on fraud watch. They're not learning anything there. They don't even make their own engines for Formula One.
I've never seen Zach Brown with a notebook. Adrian Newey always has a notebook. He's learning.
What Zach is Brown? Red Bull learning from Formula One? Are they putting that in their energy drink somehow? What are you guys learning here? What is the homework? I don't think I'm understanding. No, McLaren doesn't even make their own engines for Formula One, so they're not learning shit. I think that it's honestly just Zach Brown's trying to create an army of cute little boys to sell merch. And then WEC and IMSA seems like real car shit. And he's like, I should try to do a little bit of real car shit. They might like that. Back in the headquarters. But apparently Zach Brown said, I don't know who started this rumor. MJ, looking at you. I'm just kidding. And he said that their desire to enter WEC or IMSA will not mean cuts to their Formula E or their IndyCar team, which is good. I think a lot of IndyCar fans were worried about their team because it's probably the most popular IndyCar team at this point in time. And yeah, a lot of people were like, that's crazy. You cannot just cut us like that. And it was like, well, be aware, I guess, that they might. Even if Zach Brown says they won't. I don't believe that, man.
I was going to say that's exactly what I would say if I was planning on doing something that was going to piss off the masses. So
that's what he probably told that's probably what he told David Malukas right before he cut him or something. I was like, I would never do that.
I would never. We're so a family.
Crazy and mean. I would never be crazy and mean. Anyways, I just need you to go ahead and sign this release paperwork.
Anyways, we're actually going to fly in this kid from across the country to do one race and then also fire him as well.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, it is funny that they want to learn things from racing. And it's like nothing you've done thus far has convinced me you actually care about selling McLaren cars. Also, it's like, I don't think it matters. The people that are going to buy a McLaren are not going to care whether or not the fucking technology came from Formula One. No. Oh my God. I'm just like rolling my eyes. I wish I understood car people. I'm just like, what does Lando Norris have to do with your fucking McLaren that you bought from a dealership? Nothing. But that does lead me into Formula E. Believe it or not, it does. It does lead me into that.
Uh-huh.
So me and MJ have been talking all week about these Evo sessions that Formula E put out. And we did a whole episode on motorsport marketing, which I keep coming back to because I feel like we kind of prophesized in that a little bit harder than people are like giving us recognition for. We talked about the AI. Immediately people started being weird with the AI. We talked about like social media marketing, and like I would say, I think some people are listening to us. Heard it here first. Our consulting invoices are in the mail for some teams, just saying. But Formula E, they said, oh, we could do social media marketing. So for the next 6 weeks, they have 11 creators or just generally famous people. Mm-hmm. They're going to be embedded to train with Formula E teams and capturing their rookie to racer experience for social media. What do you think?
I think that's insane. I think that's super cool. I think it's in just like the idea of being like, hey, Vinnie hacker, you want to spend 6 weeks learning about this car and then race it? Like they're gonna fully have them race it, from what I understand. Crazy. I do kind of wonder how this is promoting the sport. Are they going to have to push it on their own social media? I haven't seen, not that I follow Vinnie Hacker, I have not seen him post anything about this.
Yeah.
I have not seen anything.
Okay, so I think that they must be doing it on their own channels based on the lineup. So we can go over the lineup if you want. A lot of people did the like typical boomer thing where they were like, who are these people? And I almost did that because I will admit, I didn't know who any of these people were, really. Mm-mm. But then I did some research on them, and I was actually like, wait, these are good choices. We have Vinnie Hacker. He is the iffiest on whether or not his followers will care about Formula E. But
yeah, I think so. Like Vinnie Hacker in a race suit, I think that's going to go absolutely fucking crazy for the edits. Yeah.
They're like, well, he is hot. And he has 15.4 million followers on TikTok and 5 million on Instagram. Those are some numbies. Those are some clouded out numbies. I hope he does a little dance or something. That'll be great. We have Amelia Hartford, who's an actress and a car builder. So she was in the Gran Turismo movie. And she also has a YouTube where she builds her own like custom vintage cars. So I think like if she were to post YouTube videos on this, it would actually be interesting. She was in a movie about cars. She builds cars stuff.
But she already has a Cars following is the thing.
But maybe they're like the type of people who would hear like, I don't want to hear any of those EVs. And then they would be like, well,
if she does
Amelia, so maybe I'll give it a little bit of a look-sees. We have this one guy, Lucian. He's just hot and is in some BBC shows, and Emily in Paris, allegedly. I don't know. I'm a little bit iffier on him. They have this girl, Cleo Abram, and I thought she looked familiar. I thought she was the Let Me Eat Cake girl that got canceled on TikTok, but she actually wasn't. They just look eerily similar, in my opinion. I actually recognize her because she has a video on her YouTube where she did a whole tour of the Redbull facility and even talked to Max for a little bit, where I'm like, how'd you get Max press time? This is crazy. That video is one of the highest recommended F1 videos on YouTube, I think. If you show any interest to F1, YouTube pushes that video to you. It has 6.3 million views. And I think she's done some further work with F1, so that could be good if she puts it on her YouTube. There was a soccer player named Sergio. And then this was my favorite. They have Brooklyn Beckham. They label him as entrepreneur. And I was like, what is this man entrepreneuring?
Yeah, he's an entrepreneur. Remember, he has that photo book. He has the coffee table book of just like photos. They're literally like iPhone photos. Like one of them is literally, I saw someone, I don't know why I know this, but one of them was like a selfie and it was just labeled me. I was like, that's so artsy. Get him in a car.
Right. I think that is the most generous way of wording Nepo Baby I've ever seen. Sure. It turns out it's kind of mean just to label people as Nepo babies, but sometimes there's a struggle to find other job titles for them. So they just put something like entrepreneur and they move on. But I don't know. At first, yeah, like I said, I wanted to be like a boomer and be like, who are these people? I don't even know who any of these idiots are. And then I was like, well, some of their followings, I could see there being some crossover where it's like people that might be interested just enough that this could get them into it. But you bring up a good point. how much are they going to get out of this partnership? Like, if Vinnie Hacker isn't saying shit to his 15 million fans, then it doesn't really matter much, does it?
Right.
And how much does this cost?
I'm sure it's a pretty penny. But
a disgusting number, probably.
If they're not promoting, they have to be. If they're not promoting it themselves, then they're just promoting these guys to us. Like, we already watch Formula E. You don't have to sell me on it. I love the noise of the EVs. Like,
and I love Vinnie Hacker. You don't have to
put Vinnie Hacker in a car just for my affection. Like, I'm already here. But like, thank you. But I trust them. I think that they have it figured out, and they still have
doing something.
5 more to announce people.
Yeah, that's what I'm curious too. So they said that they have more people to announce, and I was like, well, why didn't you just announce them all at the same time? So then I'm like, are they like people that are even more famous and exciting, and you like want to build hype for it, or do you just not have these contracts finalized, or what's going on there?
I think maybe what's happening is they're trying to see if NASCAR is going to give Kyle Larson a waiver to be able to participate in this.
He's going to do the quadruple. They're going to find something for him to do. He's going to do all of it. Yeah. Kyle Larson, what are you doing? Like, in 2 weeks, he's doing the Daytona 500. I don't think he's going to be in Jeddah.
Oh, shoot.
Rats.
Well, he has a helicopter that he, did from the Indy 500 to the Coke 600. Do you think, how far can helicopters go?
I think you'd have to do a mid-air refueling for that, and that might be a little tough for whatever helicopter he's rocking with.
He's not going to be able to bring the pit crew. That's not feasible. So,
nah.
Shoot. Maybe that's...
They do pit stops in Formula E now.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, why'd you give me such a layup of a transition there on accident?
I didn't mean to.
Okay. Well, we can get back to Kyle Larson doing Jeddah in a little bit, but so they didn't do pit stops before in Formula E, which I guess I never noticed.
They don't do pit stops. They used to change cars. They would have a second car, a secret second car.
That seems highly hard to manage.
It seems highly fun and a good time. Something you should consider, maybe.
I can't afford 2 cars. Much like Williams, I'm rocking with a limited budget.
Just one that doesn't even work most of the time. But there's always a Williams jab. We're not even talking about Formula 1.
Can you believe we're both Williams fans, allegedly?
Wow. That's crazy.
Hard to believe. So now they're going to be doing pit stops. First of all, love when motorsport series do a massive shakeup to their entire structure of a race weekend in the middle of a race season.
Well, we're only 2 races in. The thing is the off season is about as long as the breaks in between the races. You wouldn't really know the difference.
Fair. But I think it's it's giving very hey, what's up? This IndyCar thing seems to be going a little too smooth. Have we thought about introducing a massive shakeup in the middle of the season? Mm-hmm. It's kind of giving that, because wouldn't they have to go and hire pit crews and stuff like that?
No, someone's just got to be able to plug in the car.
Oh, it's an electric tires?
No, so it's just a recharge. It's a 30-second recharge. No. Yeah, so it's...
I thought we were doing a full tire strategy shakeup. Everybody here's got to learn what the fuck is up with tire changes. Oh, they just plug in her in. Well, I can do that.
Yeah.
Just plug her in. She's fine.
Put her on one of those little the little MagSafe charging things. Just have it slide on over one of those, give it 30 seconds, and unhook it.
So if you guys have never watched Formula E before, a big part of the strategy is if there's any sort of conserving of battery necessary. I guess in the past, people have just straight up died before on the track.
The battery.
Not
Are you talking about people?
Yeah.
No, and it happens all the time where they'll run out of charge and they just coast to the end. People will fully lose their lead because they've run out of power. It happens often. That's the whole point.
They're now gonna change up the strategy a little bit. Hopefully it means there will be less requirement for conserving power, but rather just tastefully, when do you want to come in the pit and up your power, which is a little bit more interesting to watch. then like when you have a situation where people have to conserve energy, probably means they're not driving to 100%, which is what you would want your racing series to be able to do most of the time. I don't know. And it also seems less confusing. I get confused when people start doing strategies about conserving. Same with like an IndyCar or wherever, where they're like, oh, they're fuel saving. I'm like, fucking A, just let me know if they're going to win or not. I don't know what we're doing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that was our little Formula E chat. We have a Formula E race coming up in 2 weeks. I believe it's on a Saturday, not a Sunday. And it is for free. Once again, it is for free. You go to your little Roku channel, or I think there's, if you don't have a Roku, I'm sorry, I don't know what to do for you, but there is a way you can watch it for free. We can post it on our socials.
Just go to Roku.com.
Roku.com. Go to the Roku City. It's so much fun. And tune into Formula E. Give it a chance if you want or not. I don't know. We'll still talk about Formula E.
No, yeah, you probably should, so that we can all watch it together and it'd be fun.
I've been having so much fun when people watch our motorsport series. Like the people watching NASCAR with me and you,
it's
and
so
people watching
fun.
Formula E. It's so much fun, guys. Thank you for doing that for just us.
Hey guys, thanks. Thanks for hanging out.
So then we have one more motorsport series to cover today, and that is Formula One. A little bit boring in the Formula One world, I'm not going to lie. But some news. The first one being Yuki Tsunoda was officially named. Why are we doing this? Just a car in the background once again. Yuki Tsunoda was officially named Red Bull's reserve driver. And to that I have to say, what was he before? I thought that's what we were doing this whole time. I didn't know he wasn't their reserve driver. But now that you've named it, I'm less confident even in it. I am convinced that they will never let him touch a Red Bull car. So if Max gets like a penalty too far for swearing and he gets suspended, I'm guessing that Isaac Hadjar will somehow get himself into that car.
I agree.
So why do we play pretend?
I'm not quite sure why we even announced it.
Yeah. You never announced before who your reserve drivers were. I guess it was Liam. But I always thought Liam would be like, okay, they'd move like Yuki up and put Liam in to the Visa Cash App Racing Bowls. I never thought Liam was the reserve driver in the way of he would get into the Red Bull. I thought Yuki is the best driver. Why would he not get moved up? I don't understand what Red Bull is on. What are we doing there?
Well, okay, so he's the reserve for Red Bull. Who's the reserve for V-Carb? Do we know?
No.
Okay, so I still don't know why it was announced.
I don't either.
We don't have to put everything on the internet. I'm saying that right now. I'm saying that for the girlies who are using AI in their F1 videos. I'm saying it for the F1 teams. Like, you don't have to put everything on the internet. Mm-mm. Keep this specific reserve driver thing to yourself.
Yeah, good idea. I think that for the reserve driver for V-Carb, it would just be whoever in their F2 team is doing better, which I think both of them are rather new. So they're probably not announcing it because they're like, I don't know which one of these kids is better yet. But I still don't believe that they would even put Yuki in the seat. So it's all a big charade. It's all Helmut Marko just goofing around, having a good time of it at our expense, us Yuki fans who have to put up with this. There's also a bunch of make-believe fake rumors of Max Verstappen going to Aston Martin.
I believe that.
I don't think it won't happen. It just won't happen for another 2 years if it does happen. So why would I care?
That's true. That's so far in the future. I'd like to think it's going to happen, though, because if not, like, what else is there, you know?
What is there to live for when it comes
what the fuck are we even doing if Max isn't going to Aston Martin? Like, what's your purpose?
I believe more in the rumor that he's going to just retire. This man's having a kid. He bought a dog. Like, he doesn't want to be there. They're telling him he can't swear now. He's going to, like, just leave this sport. He's going to be like, good night. I don't want to deal with this anymore.
I could see him going to a different series. Like endurance racing or something.
He loves endurance racing. And I think that Aston Martin is going to be growing in endurance racing with the me pretending like I know things about cars, the Valkyrie or whatever.
Hell yeah.
And apparently that's like the it boy car. Like Fernando has one and he like literally is like obsessed with it. And then like I guess Max is like, that car is pretty sick. And so maybe that would be like what he would do with Aston Martin. I wish I knew why people cared about that Valkyrie car so much. I was like, yeah, it's just a car. It seems like it's a fast one.
The only thing I know about Valkyrie isn't that the new WNBA team?
Huh.
The Valkyries? Oh my god. Max is really
to the
WNBA.
Max to the WNBA. Heard it here first. Yeah, I don't know. Sounds fun. Maybe it should happen. That'd be fun. A Fernando Max team would actually be so fun.
It would be really good.
I would root for them so fucking hard. I would love that team.
I think Max has more fun when he's like fighting from the back. So I just feel like even if Aston Martin isn't to like Red Bull level or what we think Red Bull level should be, I think Max would be like, yeah, fuck it, it's a challenge. It's like, I've already won 4 times. This is after, I'm speaking in the future, because he's going to win his 4th this year, and then in the future. That's what he would say.
He needs a 5th.
I thought he had 3.
No, because they did the little Max logo with the 4 instead of the
Oh, yeah, you're right.
And then they celebrated his 4th birthday. Did you see those videos they posted of, like, after he won? They put, like, number 4 balloons in his trailer, and they were, like, throwing, like, a little party.
That's cute.
And everybody in the comments was like, aw, he turned 4. He grows up so fast.
Aw.
Aw. But there's that Louis Vuitton. Yeah.
Louis Vuitton.
Take that, French people.
I love designer clothes. I love my Louis Vuitton.
Yeah. Louis Vuitton is the title sponsor of the Australian Grand Prix. And if you wonder why I included that, it's because that's how dry F1 news is. So, sorry. So
on one hand, you've got Formula One, where they're like, you know who's going to sponsor this designer brand? And then on the other hand, you've got NASCAR, and they're like, you know who's going to sponsor our race? Cookout.
Is there a sponsor for the Daytona 500?
Everything has a sponsor, so I assume so, but I don't know what it is. But you've got like Bank of America 400, Coca-Cola 600.
Yeah.
Like,
I like it when like the races get super regional. Like there's some races where it's like just some brand in that specific state is like, hey, what's up? Also, you had to explain to me, like, I'm pretty sure, is it IndyCar where the Iowa race is just like corn?
The Iowa race is just like corn?
I think that there's like some race. I think it might be.
Oh, the Iowa NASCAR race is like the ethanol.
Yeah, it's like just like it's like literally just like corn sponsored. I was like, wait,
yeah,
what?
That's how we got here.
How did
we don't got Cookout
like, complete that transaction? Like, from what corn bank account did this money come from? So that was just delightful. I think that that's so fun. So take that, F1. You got your Louis Vuitton.
What even is Louis Vuitton?
I know Louis Vuitton. I bought some of that on DHgate one time. No, I'm just kidding. I would never use that site.
I don't know. I don't even know what that is.
Oh, it's like Hey, you want me to explain it to you because I've never been on it? It's like a site where you can buy like fake designer goods from like China.
Wait.
Yeah.
And what is it called? Let me just. What did you call that?
Yeah, so it's the letter D and the letter H and then gate.
Sure.
But I would never go on it because I think it's illegal.
Why would it be illegal?
Something about intellectual property or something or another.
I don't know nothing about IP. It's 10:30. I don't have a brain anymore.
So did you have anything else you wanted to add for today's episode? We got 58 minutes on the clock.
Oh, it's one of them short ones. It's a short track race. I don't know. I'm really excited about everyone getting into NASCAR. Also, we didn't mention it, I love what's going on over there.
If you're a visual, if you're an audio listener, my cat is just like overtaken this podcast episode. So sorry about that. You probably heard his tail hitting the microphone and everything. Anyways.
We love that. I'm excited that everyone's getting into NASCAR. I do want to mention that a lot of the like forever NASCAR fans have been really nice about the new fans coming in, at least in our like little communities, which I really appreciate. Some of them have been kind of weird, just like telling me to move the track or move the Clash back to Daytona, and I'm like, hey guys, I actually don't have the jurisdiction to do that.
I think it's interesting. There's like a lot of NASCAR fans that I found that they don't, like you said before to me on a call that we had, like they don't have a place to just have NASCAR discussions. So like we love to welcome y'all in our comment sections. We love the listeners who just throw stuff in there and like A, correct us, or B, drop some history knowledge and stuff. On MJ's TikTok specifically though, she'll just like be talking about NASCAR and people will just come up in her comments and be like, hey, what's up everybody? You guys want to chat about NASCAR? I think the Bowman Gray Stadium is stupid. And it's like, wow, okay, cool.
It's interesting.
It's so cool to share.
I don't get any of that with like F1 or IndyCar or Formula E or anything. But as soon as I start talking about NASCAR, all of a sudden it's like the discourse, it just found a new home. Like all of these discourses, like people are commenting like we should get rid of stages. I'm like, we're not talking about stages.
Yeah, this is like, just like an educational video about how Bowman Gray works.
Yeah.
There's no stages here.
They're like, I hate the lug nut situation. I'm like, don't know what the lug nut situation is. Sorry for your loss. Happy that happened. But it's fun, though.
I didn't tell you about this. So when I was taking a Uber in Daytona, I was like, can you drop us off at the rideshare drop-off that they had set up? And my Uber driver was like, I've been coming to Daytona for 20-something years. There is no rideshare drop-off. And I was like, I promise there is. Like, I literally saw it yesterday, and I put it in the Lyft app as, like, my destination to drop me off. And he just starts arguing with me, like, getting mad. Like, I don't want to let you down. Like, there's no spot for us to drop you off. We show up. Of course, there is one. But what won him over was I don't think he knew I know wheel. So he started talking about NASCAR. And he was just like those fans in your comments. He was like, I used to love NASCAR till they started doing all these stages and shenanigans and playoffs and whatever. And I have found it is so nice now to have NASCAR conversations with NASCAR fans, because if you just give them any sort of affirmation that you also dislike something that they dislike, you are their best friend now. Mm-hmm. They are like your friend for life. I thought he would have given me the Lyft ride for free because I just said, yeah, the stages can get kind of weird sometimes. Like people, just trying to get stage points and doesn't even actually feel like they're trying to win the race. And he's like, you get it. You are a woman with a NASCAR opinion I can agree with. Get in here, girl. You're good. But NASCAR fans have been very kind to me and MJ. And so
they've been really nice.
As the NASCAR season starts, we just want to say thank you to everybody who has put up with us and us being wrong on things. We want to extend that, though, to our friends who now want to also get into NASCAR. If you see people getting into NASCAR, that's good for the sport, and you should be nice to them as well, even if they're wrong. Nicely correct them.
Yeah, be nice to them. Don't be weird. Don't be weird in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do the whole, oh my god, there's a girl who lacks motorsport. Just be like chill. Like, be chill. It'll be fun.
We're out there, y'all. Girls also can like cars that drive.
Women can famously drive, and so they can also like cars.
Well, don't get them started on if women can drive. No, I'm just kidding. There was actually that was the other thing at Rolex. Everybody there, I don't know. It is kind of weird actually. Now that I think about it a little bit, people would be like, "You guys are all Iron Dames fans, right?" Because it would just like be me and like 3 or 4 other girls.
Yeah.
To be fair, some of them were wearing Iron Dames merch, though. So maybe, like, I'll give them a pass. I don't know if they thought that just because we're women, we're only cheering for Iron Dames, but whatever. But they were like, there's this one guy, especially, he was like, those girls can drive the wheels off those damn cars. They're so good. Like, and it was really nice to, like, see people actually be positive about Iron Dames. Like, I think right now, I get kind of nervous when people start talking about women. Yeah. They might get weird about it. But, yeah, just be welcoming to new NASCAR fans. They're good. It's good for new fans to come to the sport. That's how you get sick sponsors like Cookout. or whatever. That's how we get rid of like the buildsubmarines.com sponsors, okay?
I loved buildsubmarines.com. Maybe one day a race could be sponsored by Louis Vuitton.
Louis Vuitton.
Louis Vuitton 500.
That would be delightful. Or I think like it needs to be a little bit more American, like a Vineyard Vine 600.
Is Patagonia American?
Yeah, yeah. It's a little bit hippie, but it'll work.
I feel like don't the guys like Patagonia? Like the frat boys? I guess are frat boys the demographic
it's been a while.
for...
I do think it is the demographic for NASCAR in some ways. I haven't interacted with frat boys in a couple years. I don't know what they're up to lately.
Oh, I guess I'm speaking from the past. It's been a minute since
we've been out of college for a while.
Now we call them salesmen now.
Yeah, they have jobs apparently, allegedly. But I guess that's it for our episode. What?
Do you think we just pissed off our largely frat boy audience?
Well, if they're nice, then they're not the frat boys we're talking to.
Oh, that's so true. If you think
There's
this applies
nice
to you,
frat
it
boys.
probably doesn't.
Yeah. If you honestly are listening to this, it probably doesn't apply. I think the actual frat boys have left a good while ago. I think last week, maybe.
You think last week? I feel like it was
when we talked about who we were fans of in NASCAR. Maybe they left during that.
Okay, that's fair. All right, well, we're gonna miss them, I guess.
Man, miss you guys already. Have fun out there. But if you're still listening, shout out and go ahead and drop us 5 stars with peace and love. This is a 5-star listening experience. You have my cat crawling around. You have just general background noise. But we're posting this right now. It's 11:40. I'm going to edit it and post it tonight. First out there. Getting the news straight to the people. All right.
News podcast.
Yeah, this is a news podcast. Say bye, MJ.
Goodbye.